What is going on, guys? In today's video I will show you the best lightning mage build in Tainted Grail, the Fall of Avalon. This is the powerful spellcaster setup where we are going to be using the lightning spells to absolutely melt enemies thanks to the insane AoE potential and massive single target burst damage. We are also using an offhand that explodes nearby corpses, not just for bonus damage but also to apply bleed effect. We can even heal off with the enemy corpses, meaning that we don't need to rely on the health potions. On top of that, we are stacking the huge spell power with a crazy mana regeneration, so we are basically spamming lightning 24/7. Then to push this even further, we can summon the skeletons that act as a distraction, but also passively boost our spell power and mana regen even more. The whole playstyle revolves around keeping up the pressure, dominating groups of enemies, and never backing off, thanks to our infinite sustain and the constant spell spam. Also, if you're interested in buying other PC or console games with 50 or 70% discount, then check out Instant Gaming. For example, I want to buy Elden Ring, so we just click on Add to Cart, then click Pay, then input our details and pay. After payment is complete, we will receive activation key, then copy and paste the key in, and it's that simple. So what are you waiting for? Click my link in the description and check out Instant Gaming for yourself. So let me show you the build, and at the start we have weapons. So first we got our main setup, and for it we're using the Thunder Slash with the Abagarta's Calling. This combo is super OP, because as I explained at the start, we will be able to cast both the lightning and the heavy attacks, that together will boost each other thanks to our skill tree, and on top of this, in the other hand, we get the Abagarta's Calling, which works super passively. So when we get at least one single corpse, we can then decide to light cast with the right mouse button and explode it for more damage and to apply bleed. Or perhaps just hold the right click for a heavy cast, which will now instead will heal us back to full. If all of this sounds a bit complicated, then trust me, it's not, and I will explain everything step by step in the gameplay part of this video. Then my second backup loadout is the Soul Savage with the Skeleton Knight. At the beginning I was using my first loadout and I was already super OP, but then I ran out of things to spend my skill points on, as I maxed out all the stats I needed. So I thought what could make this build even more powerful, specifically for boss fights. And well, here it is. So this combo is even more simple. By just using the left click we can summon a bunch of skeletons, and then with the right click we can summon them back while receiving back all of their mana. What we simply do is summon skeletons and then switch to our main loadout just to spam the lightning and explode corpses. While then, when we are done, we just click the right click and summon back the skeletons, and get back all the mana that we spent. This setup will melt anyone in literally split seconds. Plus, these skeletons will work not only as distraction, but also increase our spell power and mana regen. And remember that depending on which slot you equip these weapons, the right or left click will change the position, so if you need to, just switch them around. Then for slot number 3 we have it empty, for safety while talking to NPCs and just for general exploration. And then lastly we got slot 4, which is for a ranged weapon, usually a bow. That third empty slot might sound odd, but trust me, it will save lives literally. I've accidentally attacked friendly NPCs mid-conversation just because I bumped an attack button. That one slip can mess up entire questlines or turn peaceful zones hostile. And then the bow is also absolutely essential. You will encounter quests that involve chasing down deer or targeting distant enemies. And without a ranged weapon you are screwed, because our spells have much lower range than a bow. So having this flexibility to switch is awesome. Then next we have our gear, and I've tested 2 different setups being in the light or medium category, and the difference is very extremely small, so I would recommend to actually just look at the gear stats and not their weight. But of course, this only applies as long as you stay at least in the medium category. So then first we got our helmet called the Faded Hood. This increases our spell power by 10%. I got it as a job from the Horns of the South, somewhere around one of the bridges. You'll just have to kill a mage to get it. Then next for my totem I got 2 options. If you want max DPS, then go with the Volker's Berserker's Totem. It increases critical hit chance by 20%, but also increases incoming damage by 25%, as we can heal from corpses and already almost never take damage, so this trade-off is absolutely worth it. However, this might sound weird, but I prefer to go with the Priest Escape. It only gives me 1% mana regen every second, but it really all comes down to how it looks. When you equip the horn, my character just looks weird, so I better take the small hit but look like an actual mage. The Volker's Totem you can get from all the Mother's Temple, while the cape you can get somewhere around the Kuanach Forest Gate. Then for gloves we got the Wraps of the Waning Moon. They increase my spell power by 10%, plus they also increase the spell power by additional 15% when my health is lower than the max mana. This is pretty much as good of a job as you can get. I got it from the Kuanach by fighting a duel with one of the NPCs, somewhere around this location. Then next for my chest we got the Arcanist Tunic that gives me more armor, mana shield and increased mana regen. Again, this comes down to looks, so you can also go with the Night Stalker's Tunic for mage critical hit chance, or perhaps the Necromancer's Robe for more mana regen. The chest piece is more of a personal preference. Next up we have the Calm's Finger Necklace, which increases critical hit chance by 5%. This necklace I got super early in the game, somewhere around the first few quests at around this location. Then for our first ring we got the Ring of Toughness, as it increases my encumbrance limit by 25. In this game, if you pick up everything, then you end up being overweight literally in few minutes, so this ring is more of a quality of life. However, for most players for maximum DPS or for more health, you can pick other options as well. This ring is an RNG drop, so at some point you should get it. Then next we have pants, and for them we are using the Night Stalker's trousers that increase magic critical hit chance by 5%. These are just default pants that pretty much every NPC will drop 24/7. Then next up we have our second ring called the Old Steel Ring that increase our max health and stamina. I'm still looking for better rings that increase spell power or at least mana, but as they're mainly RNG, so this is what I got right now. And then finally for boots we got the Horned Warden's boots that increase movement speed when our mana is below 33% and also increase our critical damage by 25. We mainly went with these because of the critical damage boost, and I'm pretty sure that I got these from opening a random lock chest. Then next up, let's take a look at our relic choices. I would recommend to only start using relics at around level 25, as they're quite rare in the first map, but in the second one you will get them more often, or also you can just buy them. So as far as relics go, for each item you can unlock 2 relic slots, and then put armor relics on armor and the weapon relics on weapons. But as our magic spells don't count as an actual weapon, so we can't actually put any relics in them, so the only relic we can put is on our gear. I recommend to do it only on the blue one if you get a good roll. So what you need to do is spend 500 gold to unlock each slot, and then put on your totem the Unfading Ember. This will ignite enemies when they hit you. And then second we got the Eternal Guardian Seal, which increases our max health. And then for the rest of our gear we can either way also put the same Eternal Guardian Seal just to stack it, or also perhaps just put the Vengeful Spike that retaliates 5% of the damage received back to the enemies. Sadly there are no spell power increase or the mana regen for the armor relics, so at this moment it's all that we can do. However, if you really have a lot of money, then there are 2 different things that you can do. So first we can buy this Clairvoyance Ash that gives us +1 skill point permanently, or also we can get the Morgan's Censer that gives us +5 max mana permanently. This will work the same way as an origin potion, so just click on it and you will have these buffs forever. All of these items and relics you get are drops from the second map, or also you can buy them from the Kuanach city, the vendor called Banksy. She sells pretty much anything and her shop will reset every time you load back into the game. Next up, let's quickly talk about upgrades. So again, I recommend to only start doing it after about level 25, and when you get to the second forest map. First up we got the handcrafting, and this is the place that I personally haven't touched yet. All of these recipes that I've got just haven't seemed to be good enough, so if you find something decent and have materials, then for sure craft them, but if not, then don't worry too much about it. Then second, we have our upgrade section. This place is decent, but again not necessary. So if you have a lot of materials, a bit of money, and know that you got a good gear, and you just want to upgrade it, then go ahead, but these will be really small improvements to the build. And then lastly we also have the armor weight reduction. Personally, for my specific build, this section is pretty much useless, as we are already super light. I only recommend to use this if you are close to reaching one of the weight categories, and if you just need that extra boost to get behind a certain threshold, but this will just give you one more dash, which in my experience is just not worth it. Then next up, let's talk about attributes, and if you want to follow my build, then remember that you can use origin potions to reset all of your attributes and skill points. You will get these every 2 to 3 hours, so I recommend using a bunch of them to test out different builds. So first we got 10 endurance. This will give us more health, more encumbrance and stamina regen. We went with exactly 10 because we needed to unlock it as a gear requirement, but also having these extra bonuses like more backspace is great. Then second we have 16 spirituality. This will give us spell power, max mana and mana regen. And from now on we just want to stack it as high as possible. We already have 699% spell power, and we want this even further. And then lastly we got 8 perception. Most of my current gear needed either way 8 endurance, 8 spirituality or 8 perception, so I got them first and then just kept on stacking more spell power. Perception is great as it gives us critical hit chance and damage, but this 23% magic number is incorrect, because we get buffs like plus 23% crit chance when using one light after one heavy attack, or also we get buffs when we summon skeletons, so the true crit chance is about 40 to 50%. Then next up we have our skill tree, which is usually the place that makes or breaks the build. So first we can skip strength, endurance and dexterity, but when you max out everything for the spells, then you can come back and get the extra health, but besides that they're useless. Then next we want to go to spirituality and first go to the general buffs. We want to get these, so 50 max mana and mana regen is doubled outside of combat. Then next we go to combat. Here we want to get 50% spell power increase. Then also get these two, as they work more as a combo. So now after you cast a spell with a higher base mana, you will deal 25% more damage. Or if you cast a spell with a lower mana, then your crit chance is increased by 50%. So pretty much to translate this, if you cast one heavy and one light attack, then you get 50% crit chance. Or if you cast first light and then one heavy, then you will deal 25% more damage. So that's why in the gameplay you will see me constantly using both attack types, as we want to get these buffs active 24/7. And then next we also want to get dealing damage applies elemental status buildup, while this damage also gets increased by 10%, so this is a free 10% DPS increase. Then next we want to go into the summoning, and I'm still working on it, but you pretty much want to get all of these 5 to get more mana regen per every summoned skeleton. Then also get this to increase our spell power by 8% for each summon, and then also we get 5% additional damage and health, but it will cost 7% mana to summon. This downside is incredibly small, so don't worry about it, as we are already stacking high mana. And last but not least, let's go to perception and click on critical hits, and here we want to get these. So get easy 6% critical hit chance, then also consecutive hits, so that each hit increases crit chance even more, up to 20%. And then lastly also get this, to get massive 40% crit damage bonus. Then as for one of the last things, let's take a quick look at the King's Soul. So you will unlock this somewhere before level 20 after completing one of the main quests. And what we want to do is unlock Excalibur with a passive, which now when using the King's Soul, our damage is increased by 50% for each enemy killed, which is a massive DPS boost. And now, last but not least, let me quickly show you our gameplay and the playstyle. So as I explained at the start and throughout the video, we are a powerful mage that has everything that you could ever ask for. I will give you 2 rotations, one for weak enemies and one for bosses. So for weak targets, just use the first loadout and cast either way first one heavy and then one light attack, or vice versa. If you keep switching attacks every attack or 2, then you will get the damage increase, or the crit chance increase, like we talked about in the previous section. And then when you start getting at least one corpse, then explode it with a quick right click, or perhaps just heal from it by using the same right click just for a bit longer. And then for our second rotation, all the same things apply, just this time especially against bosses we want to start by using the second loadout and summoning at least 1 to 3 skeletons, and then just switch to the first loadout and do the same stuff. We want to begin with the skeletons, because each one will boost our spell power and the mana regen. So if you want to deal insane damage, then use skeletons, but if your enemies are already dropping in seconds, then just stick with the main loadout. So let me know what you think about this Tainted Grail build in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, then you definitely don't want to miss my previous video, where I showed the top 10 secret tips that make your build even more powerful. So click the screen now and I'll see you in the next one.